The way that you are now practicing internal consent is reshaping your reality. Before I get too deep into this channeled message, I want to give just a brief content warning and to name that this is a message that might stir up something for you if you are someone who has experienced sexual violence. I am someone who has experienced sexual violence, and I know that a part of why I'm here to channel for the collective is very much related to other people who share that lived experience. I'm not going to be talking about anything explicit. I'm not going to refer to any acts of violence that I or you have experienced, but we can't really talk about the concept of consent. I can't even say the word. I can't even channel the message without honoring what that word brings up for us in our bodies. Those of us who have had this experience of having our consent violated in this way. So if you have had this experience, I invite you to practice a lot of care and a lot of compassion with yourself and with your body as you listen. Maybe placing a gentle hand on the heart, maybe a gentle self-hug, maybe a gentle rocking back and forth, or some low, gentle humming. These are some simple ways that you can signal safety to your body as you take in this message and at any time, honestly. And if you're already resonating with this message, you have probably already started to discover and develop some of these somatic self-care practices. So I invite you to listen to your body and to allow yourself to engage in whatever those practices are for you as you're listening to this message and as you're processing it even after the video has ended. The message that is coming through for me to share with you is that your practice of internal consent is reshaping your reality. We often talk about consent in the context of our interpersonal relational containers, but we don't often talk about the practice of internal self-consent that has to be present if relational consent is actually going to be actively cultivated between people. And you have had the experience over the course of your life of having your capacity to attune to and listen to what your body actually wanted, of having that signal distorted, having that signal suppressed and seemingly snuffed out. This is true for you on an individual level, but this is also true for all of us on a collective level. One of the most violent aspects of that old false hierarchical reality that is crumbling is all of the ways that we were conditioned to act out of alignment with our bodies. All of the ways in which our survival meant having to sever the connection that we are all here to have with our body as a tool for knowing, a tool for decision-making and guiding us along our life paths. The intelligence that our body holds, the ability for our body to say yes to this and no to that. All of us, to varying degrees, have had the experience under that old false reality of that connection to that capacity being severed or dampened in some way. Because that old false reality, that hierarchy, it operates on the absence of consent. It operated on coercion. We were all coerced into acting against our bodies, against our nature, against what actually felt like a yes or a no to us in every aspect of our lives. And if the beginning of this message resonated for you, you have experienced that in a very specific, particular way, a very particular kind of embodied violation of consent. But you are now in a place where you and your body are listening to each other again. Because you have done the deep and courageous work of restoring that relationship. You have done the deep and courageous work of attuning to and listening to and loving your body again after all that you've been through. And this means that now you are practicing consent with yourself. Moment to moment, day to day, you are no longer forcing your own body to perform in ways or show up in ways that it doesn't actually choose to. And this practice of internal consent is reshaping your individual reality. It's reshaping your interpersonal or relational reality. And it's also radiating out to reshape our collective reality. We are collectively shifting out of a coercion-based reality and into a consensual reality that is actually based on consent. And you might have heard people use the phrase consensual reality in the context of spirituality. And people often use that phrase in that context to refer to the reality that we all agree is quote unquote real, that tangible, material, visual evidence-based reality. The reality that says money means this, time means this, power means this, and so on. And I used to bristle at that phrase, consensual reality, whenever I heard it, because my body knew that there was absolutely nothing consensual about that reality. None of us actually consented to any of that. All of us were coerced into trying our best to fit ourselves into that reality in order to survive. But this is changing. It's changing right now. It's changing dramatically. And you are a part of that change. The way that you are remembering true consent within your own body and allowing that to actually be the foundation of the choices that you make. The choices you make day to day when it's just you, the choices you make in your relationships, in your work, in how you're connecting with your body and connecting with the earth, even in how you practice spirituality. Because a lot of us, under that false reality, were conditioned to believe that even spiritual practice was not consent-based, that there was some external authority that we had to obey, that there was something or someone outside of us that knew better than us, and it was our job to just give all of our power over to that. And you are now reshaping your reality and, by extension, our collective reality, because in all aspects of your life, including your spirituality, you are remembering in your body what it is to be in your power. To be in the power that is generated within you from the inside out that you then choose to express in the way that it's here to be expressed through you. You are releasing from your field the old, false, hierarchical power over model. You're choosing from a place of internal consent to feel your own power from the inside out and to remember the true meaning of power, which is not control, which is not hierarchy, the true meaning of power within you from the inside out that you express is the ability to say yes to what is a yes for you and to say no to what is a no for you. And you are remembering that power actively in your body right now. And Spirit wants you to recognize and honor just how far you have come with this. You might be having the experience recently, maybe within the past couple of weeks or the past month, the experience of being presented with opportunities for you to practice this. Maybe in moments where the stakes feel low, and maybe in a couple of moments where the stakes felt a little bit higher. Moments where you were given the opportunity to practice attuning to your own body and feeling into, this is a yes for me, this is a no for me, and then actually communicating that, choosing based on that. And that sounds simple when we simply describe it in those terms, but you know in your body that this is not simple for any of us. It's especially not simple for those of us who have experienced this particular form of trauma that I referenced at the start of this message, but it's actually not that simple for any of us because we were conditioned under that old coercive false reality. But you are dissolving that reality. Every time that you attune to your body and listen for your yes or your no or your I don't know yet, and then allowing that to be the place from which you communicate and the place from which you choose. That old reality relied on us being so disconnected from our bodies that we couldn't even feel what a yes felt like. We didn't even know what a no felt like. It relied on us being so disconnected from ourselves that even when we did feel a yes or a no, we didn't actually feel safe to act on that. It relied on us believing that we had to act against what our body knew in order to survive. But you are dissolving that old reality with your daily choices of internal and interpersonal consent. And this is worthy of your celebration. Spirit is saying, every time that you notice yourself practicing consent with yourself, in moments large or small, you can celebrate it, you can honor it, and that's important. Because the more that you bring this up into your conscious awareness, the more that you recognize this as a guiding principle that is actually reshaping your reality. You're learning that you can say no and be safe, that you can say no and still belong, that you can say no and trust that a yes is actually available to you somewhere else. You might have had the experience in the past of saying yes to things that didn't actually feel like a yes to you because you couldn't trust that an actual yes would ever be available for you. But you know differently now because you have had the experience now of actually feeling what it's like in your body to choose a yes. You know what that feels like, and because you know it, you know that if it's not that feeling, it's not a yes. And if it's a no, you can communicate that, you can honor that, you can choose to say no. Your ability to do that with other people, your ability to do that in your external reality, it's possible for you now because it's actually happening for you internally. Your internal consent is what's making it possible for you to feel safe to be in the practice of interpersonal, relational consent with your external reality. And one of the things that you might notice is that as you become more aware of how you are practicing internal consent, your awareness of just how non-consensual that old, false, conventional reality actually was will sharpen. And your tenderness, your grief around your own experiences of having your ability to consent taken from you and how that maps onto our broader collective reality of non-consent. Your grief around this might feel really tender as you're coming into more conscious awareness of how you are practicing consent in deeper ways. And so if you start to feel that, trust that you know now. You know how your body communicates to you that it's processing grief. You know what that feels like, and you know how your body asks you to tend to it in those moments. And it'll be slightly different for each of you. And this practice is not about someone else outside of you telling you, if you feel grief, do this. If you experience tenderness, do that. It's about you feeling safe enough within your own connection to your own body in those moments when emotions feel heightened to listen. To listen to your body, ask your body what it would like from you, how it would like to be held and comforted by you. And you know how to do that now. Even in the grief, even in the tenderness, there can be a celebration of the fact that you know how to listen to and tend to your body in these moments now. And even that is worthy of celebration. You're also learning that something can feel like a yes for you in one moment, and then that can change. That what was once a yes for you can become a no, and that is also okay. That can change in the moment, and you can actually feel that shift internally and respond to it. You're learning that you don't have to continue to say yes to something that is no longer a yes for you. And as soon as you feel that change, you can pause, you can listen, you can honor that, and you can communicate and choose based on that. You might be a person who felt in the past like you were indecisive. You might have been told that by other people. You might have internalized that narrative and started telling yourself that you were indecisive. But here's the thing. You are not an indecisive person. You are a person who is here to remember that you're here to be so deeply attuned to your body that you only say yes when your body is saying yes. And you say no when your body is not saying yes. But because we lived under a coercive reality, you were not afforded the opportunity to actually be in your body, to actually be in relationship with your body so you could feel that knowing. Because your body always knows, but your connection to that knowing was tampered with. So what you experienced was not indecision. What you experienced was tension and conflict between what an authority outside of you told you that you were supposed to want versus your capacity to actually listen to your body, which always knew what it wanted. What you experienced was perhaps the tension between what your body was telling you and what your mind understood was expected of you based on whatever or whomever it was outside of you that held power over you. What you experienced was perhaps not indecision, but actually the conflict between your body's knowing and your mind attempting to rationalize a different answer other than what your body knew, because that quote unquote rational answer felt like the answer that would keep you safe, the answer that would afford you the best chance at belonging. You're not an indecisive person. And now that you're actually practicing internal consent, now that you're actually attuned to and listening to and choosing based on your body's knowing, you know. You know. Your body is always communicating to you, and the more deeply you're able to listen to and respond to that, the louder and clearer that signal becomes. And the louder and clearer that signal becomes, the more you start to differentiate between moments where you don't know because the answer has not yet become clear in your body and you're waiting for that knowing, versus the moments when your body absolutely knows, but your mind is attempting to convince you otherwise. And spirit says that this distinction is very important for you. If your body's not yet giving you a clear answer, it means it's not yet time to decide. But if your body is giving you a clear answer and your mind is attempting to convince you out of that answer, that is not indecision. That is a remnant of that old false hierarchical structure that placed the mind over the body. And it's an opportunity for you to notice that that's happening and to practice trusting what your body knows and allowing your body and its knowing to then communicate to your mind that you are safe to trust what you know. And if you're noticing that you're shifting into this practice, but you could use some support, if you recognize that you would really benefit from being held in a safe relational container in which you can deepen into this practice of self-consent, of attuning to the body, then check out the description for this video and you'll find links to more information about my one-on-one relational coaching practice. This is really at the foundation of the work that I do, and nothing is more important to me than this facet of that work. This return to self-consent, this return to the practice of attuning to and listening to what the body says is a yes or a no, and then choosing based on that. Nothing is more important to me than that in this moment, because this practice, as it ripples out from the individual to the interpersonal to the collective, it is literally how we are changing our world. It's how we're releasing that old, dying reality. It's how we are no longer feeding into it. When we withdraw that false consent that was never actually consent from that old conventional reality, we then get to actually co-create a truly consensual reality. And I know that that's what you're here for, that that's what you want for us all. It's what I want for us all. It's what we're here to co-create. It's why we're here in this moment on the planet at this point in human history. We are here because on a soul level, we know. Those of us who are a part of this collective, those of us who resonate with this frequency, we know we're here in this moment to be a part of creating that shift from the coercive, the non-consensual, the hierarchical, the hegemonic, the power over, to a truly consent-based and cooperative reality. A reality in which all of us are in our internal power. And because of that, none of us have to try to have power over others because we have power within ourselves. And you know that that power is love. And you are here to co-create from that place. What you are here to do in this moment, in this lifetime, is to reroot consent, true consent, to reweave that into the fabric of our shared coexistence as an act of love. You know, one of the most damaging experiences of childhood under that old false reality was all of the ways that we were conditioned out of consent as children. All of the ways that we were forced and coerced into fitting our bodies into structures and modes and ways of beings that literally went against what our body was telling us. All the environments that told us what we can and can't eat, when we can or can't go to the bathroom, when we can or can't sleep, when we can or can't speak, when we can or can't move, where some external authority had power over all of those basic decisions for us. Do I want to rest right now or do I want to move? Right? And not should I rest, not should I move, but what does my body actually want right now? Does it want rest? Does it want movement? Does it want input? Does it want output? Does it want solitude? Does it want connection? Does it want to eat this for breakfast or that for breakfast? You're literally rewiring moment to moment through even those most basic of choices. And if you're noticing that you're in this process, in this practice, and wanting to deepen the sense of connection with yourself, you might think of this in terms of being a loving, attuned caregiver for your body right now, in terms of how you relate to yourself, how you negotiate consent with yourself in ways that are restorative for your inner child. And over time, what you'll notice is that your body doesn't actually want overconsumption or overindulgence. You might carry a fear that if you listen to your body's going to say, I want to overconsume this thing that's not actually healthy for me. And, you might have moved through those cycles. Many of us have. I certainly have over the course of my journey. But as you really start to listen and attune, and your body knows that you are actually in loving dialogue with it rather than control or power over it, your body will tell you, I would like these things that make me feel good and safe. I would like movement and I would like rest. I would like connection and I would like time alone. I would like chocolate and I would like broccoli, and that balance, that harmony, that easeful way of being in the body, it will start to make itself more clear for you. This is also coming through, and this is a specific message for folks who experience a menstrual cycle. One of the other ways that you might begin to notice how to practice consent with your body is to become aware of how your body feels through the different phases of your cycle. How you feel in your menstrual phase versus your follicular phase versus your ovulation and luteal phases, right? You're going to feel different in each of those phases. Your body will ask you for things that are different in each of those phases when it comes to food, when it comes to movement, when it comes to input versus output, when it comes to socializing versus having time for yourself. So if you are in a body that experiences this, you have absolutely been forced to override those signals in order to survive under that false hierarchical reality that told you that you are a machine, you are a cog in a wheel, and you're expected to perform in the same way at the same pace throughout your entire cycle. But your internal cycle maps onto the cycles and seasons of the earth. It maps onto nature because it is a part of nature. So listening and attuning to that, noticing how you feel different during those different parts of your cycle, and then actually responding to that. It doesn't make you wishy-washy or indecisive or inconsistent, because consistency for you means practicing this kind of consent. It means attuning to and listening to what your body is telling you on any given day, at any given point in your cycle, and then responding to that, rather than feeling like you have to be the same or do the same every single day. That is old world, old reality logic that tells you that you have to perform in the same way every day. But you exist in a body that is attuned to the new world. You are here to be a part of our collective attunement to that new reality. And Spirit wants you to know that about yourself, trust and honor that about yourself, and celebrate the moments where you're practicing that with yourself and others, and with your relationship between your internal and your external reality. This is kind of a long message, but if you stuck with me for this long, I hope that it resonates for you and feels supportive. I'm really proud of you. Spirit is really proud of you. Your ancestors are so proud of you. They want you to know that this is deep healing. This is deep lineage-based healing that you are doing. You actually coming into a consensual relationship with your own body in ways that they, your ancestors, were not afforded the opportunity to experience. And so this healing is yours, and it's also so much bigger than you. Your practice of consent with yourself is yours, and it's also everything. And it's changing everything. Your consensual choice is the change. I love you, and we'll talk soon.